ACC Network, an exclusive production of Raycom Sports.
Pittsburgh is not wasting any time before making some noise in the ACC. The Panthers have just one loss in 15 games. They're 2-0 in the conference. Lamar Patterson has been the man leading the team in scoring. Meanwhile, Wake Forest got a big win against North Carolina 6 days ago. The Deacons have almost equaled their win total of last year and are looking to contend this year behind senior Travis Mackay. They'll have a test today. Panthers, Deacons coming up right now. Backstage, they're taking it up a notch, getting ready to come into one of the loudest venues in all of college sports. It's the Petersen Events Center, and it's a great place to watch college basketball. Today it's the Deacons of Wake Forest and the Pitt Panthers playing for the first time ever. And hello again, everybody. I'm Tim Brand along with Dan Bonner. Glad to have you along. You look at this Pitt team, they've dominated in this building. 190-22 is their record in here. What can we expect today?
Tim, it's not the building, it's the team. They've had an outstanding team ever since they've been in here. In fact, last 15 years, one of the top programs in the country, but interestingly, not ranked yet this year, but they're a top team, and they're led by one of the top players in not only in the ACC, but in the country, and that's Lamar Patterson, a typical Pitt guy. He paid his dues early in his career, was mainly a distributor. Now he does all those things, distribute, rebound, and he's become a very, very good scorer. Can shoot the three, drive to the basket, a dangerous matchup for Wake Forest.
All right, I'm going to ask you the same question here. Wake Forest comes in, they beat North Carolina, they get spanked by Virginia, stock market weak. Who are they?
That's a very good question, and I think the Wake Forest coaches and the Wake Forest fans would certainly like to know the answer. For them to be really good, they've got to get performances from their big guys, one of whom is Devin Thomas. And Thomas, don't know how he's going to do today, because the other night he ran jaw first into the shoulder of Malcolm Brogdon and had to leave the game. The word we get is that he's ready to go, and that's good news for Wake Forest. Now, another guy who's got to play well for them is Travis Mackay. You need your seniors to pick it up, particularly on the road. Mackay, very good at home against North Carolina, not so much against Virginia. He's got to have a better game.
All right, partner, we're just about set here in Pittsburgh. The Deacons are 11-4. Pittsburgh is 14-1. What better way to spend a Saturday afternoon? It's ACC basketball, and it's coming up next.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by BB&T, official bank of the ACC, member FDIC. By Food Line, official supermarket of the ACC. By Toyota, official corporate champion of the ACC. By Geico, official corporate champion of the ACC. And by AT&T, exclusive wireless provider of the ACC.
It's feeding time at the zoo. And they say today's meal are Demon Deacons. Affectionately called the zoo here. What a great place to play. Here's a look at our Food Line starting lineup. First for Wake Forest, Karan Williams, Miller McIntyre, Travis McKay, who really struggled against North Carolina and Virginia. Tyler Cavanaugh and Devin Thomas. Dan says Devin Thomas has to come up big today. Meanwhile, for Pittsburgh, Robinson, Cameron Wright, Zana, Michael Young, and of course, Lamar Patterson, one of the best you'll see. He's averaging 20 points, 6.5 rebounds a game, 4 assists in the ACC. A member of the 1,000-point club. The officials, Les Jones, Tim Nestor, Tim Kelly. Welcome to 3719 Terrace Street, Pittsburgh Pub. And welcome to the ACC. First time ever these two schools have played each other in basketball. Pittsburgh has it first.
And Wake Forest opens in the man-to-man. Wake has had some success against North Carolina playing zone. They see some of that today. Pitt, if they have a weakness, sometimes they have a tough time scoring.
It's a very physical club. They say the physicality has really helped them. Patterson looks at a shot, doesn't get it. Shot clock down to 9. Robinson takes it and buries it. 2-0 Panthers.
Robinson is not a guy who shoots a lot, but he takes big shots at big times, and he generally scores when he's trying to score.
Demon Deacons looking for a good start after what happened against Virginia. Missed the shot here. One thing you'll notice about the Panthers, they are fundamentally sound. Patterson, a little step back.
That's a really difficult matchup because Patterson, he can pull up and shoot the three. He can drive all the way to the basket. You try to defend him, and he just drives you off with the dribble and pulls up and shoots that jump shot.
Around the perimeter, the Demon Deacons have yet to go inside.
And of course, Jamie Dixon, he wants his team's man-to-man defense to be their calling card. And particularly over the last few games, it has been that.
Shot clock down to 8. They've got to go. Thomas recognizes it and takes it and dribbles into trouble. Last touch by Thomas. It'll belong to the Panthers. Not the kind of start Wake Forest had hoped for.
Boy, Jeff Bzdelik's guys, they got down 11-0 in Charlottesville the other night before there was even the first television timeout. You can simply not afford that kind of a start in a road game. Get yourself behind the 8 ball so far, so early.
Whistle and a foul away from the basketball. So that's the first foul. It's against Karan Williams. Karan Williams, by the way, had 19 points the last time he played here as a sophomore. He was playing for Robert Morris back then, which is just over the hill. But he's played in this building a handful of times already. He picks up the personal. Tough shot inside, turnover, and this foul would be called on Young. Take a look at the 4 keys to the game, Dan.
Tim, just what we were talking about, Wake Forest has to prevent those spurts that have tended to kill them. That big spurt early in the Virginia game, big spurt in the first half in the Xavier game. And for Pitt, this is a team that attacks you. They attack you on offense, they attack you on defense. They've got to do that to be successful.
Knocked away, taken back underneath by Mackay. Mackay has it on the floor. Possession arrow is going to belong to Wake Forest. Demon Deacons right now early look unsure of themselves.
Boy, they sure do. Just not able to get much done on offense. And here Mackay trying desperately to hang on to the ball. And he does. Interesting, Mackay was the only black shirt down after that ball. There was 5 white shirts there and only Mackay.
Looked like a bar of soap for the Deeks there. Kick it back outside. This is for three. Thomas with the rebound. Little drop step and left-handed. Taken back by Mackay, and he's fouled.
One of the problems that Wake Forest has had in their 2 ACC games is they haven't done a very good job at all on the offensive boards. They have really been limited. You know, most of the time teams on the average, and for Wake, they're the same way on the season. On the average, they get back about 30% of their misses. In ACC play, it's only been half of that. So an encouraging sign for the Deacons that they were able to get that offensive rebound. Now they just got to be able to score.
Foul was on James Robinson. Travis Mackay missed his first. He's an 80% free throw shooter. And he makes the second, and finally the Deacons are on the board. You had a look at Jeff Bezdelic, now in his 4th year, rebuilt the team at UMBC, Air Force, and trying to build the program at Wake Forest. Off to a good start, 11-4. A tough loss to the Cavaliers the other night in Charlottesville.
Of course, the Wake Forest struggles under Jeff Bezdelic on the road in the ACC, well documented, 1-26.
Inside, Zana goes up strong, but he gets caught and pinches it. Air ball, and that'll get him going on the transition. Pitt gets back defensively.
Boy, and Devin Thomas is begging for the basketball. When he's open in there, he has to have it. He's got a couple inches height advantage against Lamar Patterson. You can't pass him up when he's open. Give him the ball.
Teron Williams from long range draws iron. Pitt's got a 3-on-2. Patterson. Boy, that was too easy to Robinson.
Lots of times your offense determines what you're able to do on defense, and that time the long shot by Williams really allowed Pitt to get out and run, and then as Wake tries to get out and run, they turn it over. The long shot, long rebound, that enables Pitt to get down and get going, and Wake just simply can't get set on the defensive end.
Cody Miller-McIntyre in trouble with the ball at this end. Looks like they are really struggling to have a grasp on that ball today.
Well, and now they just called a foul on Teron Williams.
And that's his second.
Yeah, he was in the game for his offense, missed a couple of shots. Now with those 2 fouls, he's out. But he simply grabbed one of the Pitt players, Robinson, as they were trying to throw the ball in.
Teron Williams led Wake in scoring Wednesday at Virginia, 11 points. So he's replaced by Madison Jones, the 6'1 sophomore from Raleigh.
Now Jones is a little bit better defender. They were looking for some scoring from Teron Williams, but Jones is the better defender.
Williams knocks down the 2-ball. Timeout, Wake Forest. The Demon Deacons 0 for 4 from the floor. 2 turnovers, 2 fouls. And struggling. Down 8-1 on the road.
They simply are really having a tough time tracking the Pitt players on the defensive end. Great ball movement right there. And Cameron Wright is another one of those guys who has come in and developed his skills as he has been at Pitt. This is a guy who wasn't much of a scorer earlier in his career, but now he's averaging in double figures.
Dan, he scored double figures 7 of the last 11 games. Really coming on. So the point you make is well taken. They say he's Pitt's most improved player.
Well, he's always been a very good defender, really a team type of guy. Now he's combined that with offensive skills. But as you just saw in that replay, the key was he kept moving without the basketball. This is not a Pitt team that relies heavily on the 3. They rely on getting the ball into that mid-range area and attacking you off the dribble, getting to the basket. You got to make them to be long jump shooters.
Kavanaugh's first shot. Partially blocked in an air ball. Gets the crowd a little riled up here in the zoo.
That's really a good defensive play by Young.
Boy, Wright looked at another one, instead gives it up to Zana.
Now Wake's got to try to push it and beat this Pitt defense down the court. But it's tough sometimes. You want to push, you want to play quickly, but you don't want to be in a big hurry and take bad shots.
Jamie Dixon told us they've worked hard on the transition defense against this Wake approach. Kick it back out to Mackay, and he knocks down a 3-ball.
I think that's a really big basket from Mackay and for the Demon Deacons. They've got to get some confidence in their offensive play.
First field goal for Wake.
And here they are in that zone.
Patterson draws iron. There's a whistle away from the ball. 15:03 to play in the first half. Great place to play. I mean, it's the loudest venue in all of sports. On the ACC to check in on conference action. Of course, all eyes are on Syracuse, Carolina. If they're not here, Notre Dame, Georgia Tech. Yellow Jackets up big on Mike Bray's team there. Boston College and the Hokies tied at 10. Of course, coming up later today, Duke, Clemson, Virginia, NC State, and Maryland, Florida State.
A couple of interesting games there, Tim. Obviously, you mentioned the Syracuse-North Carolina game, a really interesting matchup and fun matchup. I think Virginia at NC State is a game that might go a long way to determining how these teams are going to finish in the conference. And then Maryland, Florida State. Florida State got beat at home by Virginia, and so Maryland's going to be a tough test for them.
And, of course, today we're here at Pitt, the seat of Allegheny County. Get used to them, ACC, because they are a factor, and this looks like it'll be definitely against Wake Forest, and it was on Travis McKay.
Remember we talked about Pitt being a team that likes to attack. Well, that's what you saw right then. A couple of passes, and then James Robinson attacks in the lane off the dribble, goes to the line.
Robinson has hit 40 of his 46 free throws this year.
Robinson is a very interesting point guard. Nothing flashy about him, but guys love to play with him because if you're open, he's going to find you. Those 4.1 assists, very impressive, but this is a young man who just simply doesn't turn the ball over.
A lot of great guards have come out of DeMatha High School in Hyattsville. Famous DeMatha, known for its basketball. Morgan Wooten, now Coach Jones, doing a great job down there.
Pitt goes to the bench. Newkirk comes in at the point guard spot, and Jamel Artis enters along the front line. This is a Pitt team that has developed a nice little rotation.
Zana kept that ball alive. Newkirk runs with it, goes left-handed, and the foul by Patterson is good. And the foul at the other end is going to be against Wright. So Cameron Wright picks up his first personal.
Newkirk really pushes the basketball, and again, you push the basketball like that, you draw the defense. Lamar Patterson, a very smart player, he goes to the place that was vacated by everybody chasing the ball and gets an easy offensive stick back.
His first free throw is good. He's been the go-to guy, ranks 10th in field goal percentage. struggled at the line a little bit, but he's getting better at that as well. And 2 for 2 on that trip.
Randolph Childers really working with him at the line. I mean, you can score a lot of points from the free throw line. First of all, if you can get there, and then if you can knock him down once you are.
I know Randolph did.
Oh,
so he's a good one to be listening to.
Here's that 2-3 zone.
Patterson steps into it, kicks it out. How about that pass? Oh, my.
Great ball movement, great player movement, get the zone out of position. What a pass.
And Zana just slammed it home. (14-6), and we're in a danger zone now for Wake Forest.
Devin Thomas, I think, is getting a little frustrated. He feels like he's open inside, and he's not getting the ball.
He's got it now, kicks it back out. Shot clock down to 3. That'll start Pitt going the other way, but now Pitt's not as worried about the clock. Another nice pass to Zana. Timeout, Wake Forest.
You attack a zone by getting the ball in penetration, and that time the dribble penetration gets the easy dunk. Now this is just a situation where Wake Forest, they're not set on defense. A very, very poor defensive set that time by the Deacons. It's going to be a long day for you if you give up dunks every time down the court.
It's an 8-2 Pitt run. The Panthers trying to go to 3-0 in the ACC. And Wake Forest right now just 1 for 8 from the floor, not giving them a whole lot of defense.
Now, it's really been a struggle. We've told you, Wake does not play well on the road in the ACC during the Jeff Bzdelik era. And they certainly started out poorly today. They've got themselves behind the 8 ball again. And what you have to realize, particularly when you're on the road, there's no such thing as a 10-point play. Just try to play better at this point. Execute better on offense, get back and play better on the defensive end. Try to cut into it gradually.
Dalamoda now in the ball game for Wake Forest.
Pitt now showing a little zone.
Miller McIntyre looked at the 3.
And Wake is also a team that is not a great three-point shooting team. Doesn't rely on the 3 a great deal.
They double down on Thomas. He's in trouble. Takes it to the rack and banks it in with the left hand.
See, I think the ball has to go there. He is a pretty good passer out of the post. Didn't pass it that time. But, I mean, they're obviously going to come put 2 guys on him, allow him either to make a move or to find an open man, but give him the ball.
Well, the shot clock became effective that time, so he just took it right at the basket. Patterson. How about that running one-handed?
See, they go to the zone because they can't guard Patterson, and then they don't move well enough in the zone to guard anybody else. And so a real dilemma right at the moment for Wake Forest.
Push pass to Thomas. And he's fouled.
We mentioned Pitt in a zone, and see Thomas, he's got his hands out, he's looking for the basketball, they double team him. Look how he fights here, gets the ball and just powers it to the basket. This is a guy who can score inside for you. He's a guy who has to handle the ball.
Foul is on Patterson, so Patterson goes out of the ball game. Wright comes back in for Pitt. Jamie Dixon, 48-year-old, played at Texas Christian. What an outstanding career he has had. Been the coach of the year multiple times. Nice pass. And that is a great completion to Dalamoda, who just checked in.
Dalamoda is a guy who's very aggressive around the basket. He's very strong. And again, you see the ball goes inside to Devin Thomas, and he finds the open man. Got to really pick it up on the defensive end.
Wake Forest, the deficit is still 8 points, still single digits. You had the feeling that they were just being blown out of the building.
Right.
It's still well within reach.
Right. They're not as far behind as you'd think if you were just watching the game and not the scoreboard.
Johnson will go to the line, and I believe he'll be shooting 3 because Roundtree got him beyond the arc. Timeout on the floor. Pitt 4 for the last 4 and up by 8.
Early, and let's take a look at our AT&T fast analysis. Obviously, even with the three-point shot, you want to score as close to the basket as possible. So the points inside, obviously Pitt dominant early here, 12-4. That's the kind of looks that the Panthers have been getting. That's why in our AT&T fast analysis, they're shooting 67% from the field, and Wake is only shooting 30.
We talked about, we felt it was a blowout. Pitt has been up by 10 twice, but Wake Forest still well within reach.
Jeff Bzdelik's got to be standing over there thinking, okay, we're down. Right at the moment it's 9, and he's got 2 more shots, but they've only shot 30% from the field. They've turned it over a couple times. Pitt shooting, as we mentioned, 67%. Your thought process has to be, if we just tighten it up on defense a little bit, they cannot continue shooting at that rate. That gives Wake Forest the opportunity to come back in the game, but they've got to execute better on both ends of the court.
Duran Johnson makes all 3 of his free throws. He was the difference maker against Maryland. Came off the bench with 3 for 4 from beyond the arc. And he nails 3 there, and it's the biggest lead now for Pitt at 11. Comes up short, Zana with a rebound.
That's the kind of shot that you need to have go down. That was a good drive by Adalamoto. You got to be strong enough to finish that.
Here's Wright. That was not a good shot, never set.
And there wasn't much movement either of the ball or of personnel on that particular offensive set.
Wake gets it right back. Jones is fouled. This will be against Artis, and so that'll stop the clock at 10:26. Closed captioning for ACC basketball provided by Bojangles' famous chicken and biscuits. It's bow time.
And one of the things you have to try to avoid if you're Wake Forest is each individual trying to make all the plays by himself. You got to do this as a team. Madison Jones, I think that time was very fortunate. He drove to the basket and took a tough shot the first time, and his teammate Adalamoto got him the rebound. And then that was really a force the second time, but he drew the foul, so he gets to go to the line.
Jones only a 39% free throw shooter, but that too is improving. The young player now, he started 11 games, 4 points, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, a steal. Gives him production when he comes in, and he makes both of his free throws.
His primary job at the moment is to put pressure on the ball. Right at the moment, it's Newkirk in the game. So you got to try to disrupt that Pitt offense at the source with the point guard.
Newkirk drifts to the left side. Back outside the right. Shot clock has not been a factor for the Panthers. But it's down to 8 now. Zana takes it in, a little dunk underneath, and Young gets it in after it takes a victory lap around the rim.
What great patience by the Pitt offense. No panic at all as the shot clock ran down. That's a great extra pass by Talib Zana.
23-12. All Pitt starters have now scored. There's a block underneath by Zana, who's playing a terrific first half. Roundtree has 6 on the shot clock. He's got to go to the basket.
Just a different look there, Tim. Wake Forest, the shot clock starts running down, and they seem to be in a hurry. This is a great pass on the inside. Adalamoto tries to get the fake, and when he does that fake, all he does is allow Zana to get there and block it. But that's a good job by Wake Forest to attack inside.
How about the impact Zana's had in the first half? 4 points, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 blocks.
Wake really struggling to shoot the ball. Pitt shooting the ball very well, and I think the difference is shot selection.
Under 9 minutes to play in the first half.
Panthers just getting better shots.
Patterson to the baseline, has his shot blocked. And the possession arrow will belong to Pitt. Travis Mackay comes back into the ball game. So Mackay comes in, Michael Young comes back.
Thomas back in the game too.
Long air ball. Thomas with a rebound, starts a little transition. Inside to Thomas.
And even though that won't go in the books as a fast break basket, that was a transition play. And the key to the whole thing was, number one, getting down the court quickly, and number two, Travis Mackay passing up a tough three-point shot and then getting great ball movement.
Until it gets the Pitt lead back to single digits. Wright takes it down the lane. Zana back up. Nice job by the Demon Deacons. Back into Thomas. And he'll go to the line for one more.
They figured out that Thomas is playing for him today. Wake Forest really has done a nice job getting the ball inside. What great position. And that he gets the ball up quickly. And that's what Thomas can do. You got to be fast in there because these Pitt guys close the ground pretty quickly and help out.
First time Wake Forest has hit back-to-back baskets in this ball game.
Well, but even that being said, Tim, if he makes this free throw, it's a 6-point game.
Right.
So Wake Forest has really had a tough start, but they're right in the game.
Wake Forest was asking if it was in the cylinder. This foul's on Kavanaugh. That's his first. Robinson pushes it and has it blocked. How about Thomas now elevating his game?
That really is a great play against the fast point guard.
So Thomas asserting himself. Wake Forest making a little bit of a run. We'll be back. Matter of fact, if you go by percentage, he ranks first ahead of Jim Boeheim. And look at all the banners that have been won here, the success that's been experienced here in Pittsburgh. And welcome to the ACC. Brings with him some pretty good pedigree.
Pretty good players.
Yeah.
You know, one thing that this Pitt program, one of the reasons they may not be ranked is they're always a team that people say, well, they're going to be a big threat to go to the Final Four, but they haven't really been advancing the deep runs in the NCAA tournament. That's probably the next step for them.
Well, the Pitt Panthers 14-1 overall, 2-0 in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and they're trying to go to 3-0. Nice putback again by Zana, who is having a terrific first half.
Your defense doesn't stop until you have the ball, and Wake Forest, they did a great job right up until they couldn't get that defensive rebound.
He's a handful. Khalid Zana, 6'9", 230 pounds, just a junior. Thomas puts it on the floor. Cavanaugh gets it back, and he's fouled. Well, the ACC.com/social hub is your source for the latest ACC buzz on the social media. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget to tag your basketball tweets and photos with the hashtag ACCMBB. The ACC.com/social hub, your official ACC social media source, like Dan Bonner is mine.
Now, the only hub I'm familiar with is like the hubcap on my pickup truck. Does that count?
It's a very nice one. Cavanaugh at the line. 75% free throw shooter, knocks them both down.
And for Pitt, after starting so hot from the field, they've only made 2 of their last 9 field goal attempts. Wake now with a little bit of zone pressure. They drop back into the zone. You got to find Deron Johnson if you're playing zone defense, because he can light it up from outside.
Deron Johnson again was the difference maker, I thought, against Maryland the other night. Came off the bench with 3 for 4 from the bonus field. Kick it back out, shot clock at 10. They look at that. Patterson fires from way outside, draws iron, and knocked out of bounds by Pitt.
As a foul was called.
It was Michael Young over the back, perhaps?
I think it was Cameron Wright.
So Wright picks up the personal.
That was a nice offensive set by the Pitt Panthers. They got the ball inside the zone and then got it back out to their best three-point shooter, Lamar Patterson. He just missed it. But I think for Wake Forest, as long as Devin Thomas can be in the middle of things, they are in pretty good shape.
Well, you made the point earlier how many points you can get at the free throw line, and that is actually putting Wake Forest back in this game. So Wright picks up his first personal, or his second personal rather, and Thomas adds another point for the Demon Deacons. This is the 3rd ACC game, and the Panthers have really been showing a physicality that has carried them through. You mentioned earlier, though, Thomas had been yelling for the ball. Oh, banks it in.
Yeah, he's got a smile on his face headed down the court, and he ought to. That was not the plan.
Deron Johnson makes him any way he can. Thomas with a tough shot, banks it in with left hand.
Wow, that was a bit of a force, but he's decided he is not going to have, that this team is not going to have another performance like they had on Wednesday night.
And running down the other end, he yelled, "Give me the ball." Thomas now with 7 points. Oh, how about the wraparound pass and the foul? But I'm telling you, that was a terrific pass. Adalamato picks up the personal.
We talked before the game about Lamar Patterson and his abilities. That he started his career as a guy who was mainly a distributor, a passer. And even though he's their top scorer, he's also this year still their top assist guy. That was just a tremendous pass.
Zana's had 4 double-doubles this season, scored in double figures 11 times. But if there's a weakness in his game, this is it. He's hit only 48 of his 78 free throws coming into this game.
Well, heck, if he was on North Carolina, he'd be their leading free throw shooter.
Easy now. Easy.
with the exception of Marcus Pitt.
Misses them both. This foul's going to be against Pitt. They're going to Wicks going to the line again. Shoot two.
Wake Forest continues to do a nice job taking the ball inside. And Adalamoto is the guy, when he gets the ball inside, Tim, he's going to shoot it. He is not a good passer out of the post, but he's a big, strong guy who can score close to the basket.
Artis picks up his second. Jamie Dixon not happy at all. Pitt now with 9 team fouls.
Adalamoto is another one of those guys who is a poor free throw shooter, only 54% on the season.
Newkirk now checks in and Artis goes out. Jamie Dixon was telling before the game he's comfortable to go 8, 9, even 10 deep. Played 11 against Maryland, but they were in control of that game in the second half.
Well, now he's playing a relatively small lineup. He's got Newkirk and Robinson in the game at the same time.
6-point game. Newkirk over to Robinson. Here's your guy, leading scorer, Patterson.
And when they play the small lineup, he becomes a very tough matchup.
Good look to the other side for 3. And this foul will be against Adalamoto.
Tough break right there. The ball bounced on the floor, and the Deacons were trying to control it by dribbling. You got to grab the ball. That's a tough break for Wake Forest.
2 on Adalamoto, and Johnson goes back to the line.
And you see the Pitt Panthers, even though their shooting numbers have dropped recently, they continue to attack. They attack off the dribble. They attack on the offensive boards. This is a team that is relentless. They just keep coming.
So Deron Johnson back at the line. And he makes the first. Pitt now has 4 players with 6 points or more. And it's 29-22. Johnson, 6'6", 205-pound sophomore from Baltimore, Maryland. 4 or 5 guys on this Pitt roster from Maryland. And the putback by Patterson.
Boy. Jeff Mazdelik's got to be wondering how the heck did that happen.
McIntyre a little bit hard. Thomas with the rebound. Fights his way to get outside and start all over again. New shot clock.
If they're not going to throw it to him, he's got to go get it himself. See, now he's matched up inside against Lamar Patterson at the moment. And as good a player as Patterson is, they ought to try that mismatch inside.
Miller McIntyre to Mackay. Shot clock at 11. Jones, shot clock at 7. Shot clock at 3. Got to get something off. Just barely beat the shot clock. And the foul on Mackay. 3:57 to play in the first half. All Pitt so far. exclusive production of Raycom Sports. The network covers over 75 million U.S. TV households.
For the Pitt Panthers, you're also watching the kind of performance we're used to seeing from Lamar Patterson. A wide range of skills, off the dribble, the inside jump shot, one of his 2 offensive rebounds, then taking the ball all the way to the basket and making a tough shot. He's also got a couple of assists, does Lamar Patterson. The one thing he hadn't done so far today is make a 3, and he is Pitt's best 3-point shooter.
Well, such balance coming out of the Panthers today. Patterson with 8. Johnson was 7. Robinson was 6. Zana was 6. So they're getting it up and down the line. Meanwhile, for Wake Forest, Thomas is 4 for 5. The rest of the team just 2 of 15.
Really makes you hard to guard when you have such a wide array of people who can score.
Deron Johnson knocks down the first free throw.
Now remember what we talked about with Wake Forest, preventing those spurts by the opponents. Pitt had a spurt to start the game. Wake Forest battled back, got it to within 6, and now Jeff Bzdelik and Jeff Battle, his assistant, they're sitting over there thinking, how can they stop this next Pitt spurt that has now stretched the lead back to 10?
Meanwhile, Deron Johnson now 25 of 28 for the season at the free throw line.
And now we're going to get some discussion between Talib Zana and Devin Thomas.
This officiating crew is one of the best. Les Jones, Tim Nestor, Tim Kelly.
Now Devin Thomas is a guy who is extremely intense, extremely competitive, extremely emotional. Got to keep it under control though.
Taken away underneath the basket, battle for it, and Pitt comes away.
Forrest has gone back to the man-to-man.
Good defense starts the transition. Wake's got numbers. The bucket and the foul.
That was a great finish in transition by Cody Miller-McIntyre.
And Pitt's third turnover started that transition.
Patterson dribbled the ball off his feet, and then Adalamoto gets it out quickly. And this is what Wake Forest, this is when they're at their best. They're a much better team in transition. Of course, most teams are. But this time, Miller-McIntyre, this is not an easy shot. A very tough finish with the left hand. That's how you stop a spurt by your opponent. You score some points.
So Deron Johnson picks up his second personal foul. He goes out. Chris Jones comes in.
I think the real key last 3 minutes of the first half for the Demon Deacons. Got to dig in here and not lose any more ground.
Things are getting a little chippy, and the referees are starting to reel everybody in. Reminder coming up at halftime, it's the Hardy's Halftime Report. We'll give you a preview of our first Kings of the Court show. The Emmy Award nominated show will feature stories on former ACC greats Chris Paul and Charlie Ward. All that plus highlights and stats on the Hardy's Halftime Report from Pittsburgh. Adalamoto, by the way, picked up his third personal.
And Adalamoto, his energy, I think, has been a big help here in the first half for the Demon Deacons.
Little clock issue. They get everything squared away.
So now Jeff Bzdelik sort of changes his lineup. He's going with a small group now.
Ron Williams checks back in for the Demon Deacons.
Each team playing 3 guards at the moment.
(35-24). I think it's critical here in the last 2:45 for Wake Forest to stay within reach. Try to get this thing and keep it in single digits.
Where they miss Thomas inside.
They finally get it to Thomas. He looks at a little jumper.
If you're the Pitt defense and you can make Devin Thomas catch the ball out there, you're in business. In the man-to-man.
Winkler takes it in, has his shot blocked. Wake comes away with it.
Great outlet pass.
Miller McIntyre, though, misses the snowbird. It's knocked away, and here comes Pitt. Nice pass to Jones. Jones with the bucket. Wake Forest with 10 fouls and 7 field goals.
This is a situation where Wake Forest missed the basket in transition, and that allows Pitt to get out and go. Again, excellent passing by the Panthers. Nice job running the lane on the fast break.
Well, how about Dick Groat? When you talk about the Duke Blue Devil in his 35th year as a basketball analyst for the Panthers, how about these numbers? Pretty impressive resume.
Those are great basketball numbers, and of course in baseball, was a great player, the National League MVP in 1960. And that was the Pittsburgh Pirates when they won the World Series on the Bill Mazeroski home run.
He would love PNC Park.
Sitting to his left, of course, is Bill Hillgrove. Bill Hillgrove has been the Pitt play-by-play guy for 45 years. Dick Groat's been his sidekick for 35 years. It's Curtis Aikens sitting on Dick's right. He's the baby of the group. He's only been there 4 years.
What a shortstop Dick Groat was. Phenomenal. Had a rifle hanging from his shoulder and could really flash leather. Pitt with his biggest lead. Wake Forest with a minute and a half to play in the first stanza here. Shot clock down to 8. Two ball is short. Wake gets a new 35. Williams looked at it, steps inside for the 2. And knocked out of bounds. It'll still belong to Wake Forest, and they get another new 35. So 1:02 to play. Actually, the clock is still rolling. And the zoo lets them know about it over at the scores table.
Yeah, they get a little bit excited about it.
Yeah, they get excited about everything here. It's a great venue.
That's a beautiful facility.
12,508. They pack it in. Petersen Events Center, it's loud.
Down in the right-hand portion of your screen there, the clock is, the game clock is in the white. You notice the ball goes out of bounds and the clock just keeps going.
So they should set the game clock at 1:07, and it's a new 35 for Wake Forest on the shot clock. So they do, and here we go.
Newkirk picks up the foul there, hanging on to Karan Williams.
That was bizarre. Jamie Dixon really upset with that.
Well, he's upset at Newkirk.
That's what I mean.
Now, Williams is the one guy for Wake Forest you don't want to foul. He shoots over 80% from out there.
And he gets that in. So Newkirk's first personal, and Williams knocks down his first free throw.
I think the Deacons have to figure out ways to get Devin Thomas, the basketball, close to the basket. When they did that, that's when they made their little run and got back in the game.
Again, Karan Williams played 4 years at nearby Robert Morris. He's a graduate student. He makes an 11-point game.
And then he goes out because they're trying to do a little offense-defense substitution here. Williams has those 2 personal fouls.
So here we go, the final 60 seconds.
This is a hard matchup for Roundtree.
As we approach halftime here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Pitt leads. They've led since the ball game began. Back outside to Newkirk. Shot clock still at 15. Patterson with a wide open 3. Timeout Pittsburgh. Shot clock will be off. 31.9 seconds remain in the first half. Lamar Patterson, everything and then some.
Patterson, we talked about him. He just moves and gets in position. We said he was a tough matchup. Roundtree more used to playing inside, guys. Just not ready to get out there and guard Thomas. Or excuse me, Patterson. You see Roundtree slide into the lane. He thought Newkirk was going to penetrate all the way to the basket. Patterson, the veteran, saw that, got back to the open position and knocked down the 3.
Lamar Patterson, a member of the 1,000-point club, having a terrific first half. Today's coverage of ACC basketball being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network. We welcome nearly 1 million men and women from the U.S. Armed Forces stationed around the globe, 175 countries, and on the high seas. We're so proud to have you with us today and hope you're enjoying the broadcast. And we thank you for everything you do for us every single day. How about Patterson's first half? 5 of 9, 13 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists.
But Tim, I'd say, wow, except that's what he does every game.
You're right. Shot clock is off, final 10 seconds. Miller McIntyre recognizes the clock now. Puts up a high floater, and they'll go empty to end the half. So the Panthers close with a 3-ball from Patterson and make it a 40-26 lead.
And this was a game where Wake Forest, they fell behind by 10 early. Then they rallied and they cut it to 6, and they actually had the ball one time with a chance to cut it to 4. But Pitt, playing really well on both ends of the court, got the lead out to 14.
ACC basketball is being brought to you by Toyota, official corporate champion of the ACC. By Hardy. By Geico, official corporate champion of the ACC. And by BB&T, official bank of the ACC. Member FDIC. official corporate champion of the ACC. And by Gatorade, official corporate partner of the ACC.
To do games so far this year at all three of the sites, Syracuse, Pittsburgh, and Notre Dame. And one of the things that has impressed me is the excitement, not only of the players and the coaches and the athletic department staffs, but of the students at the universities and the communities in which these schools exist, that they're so excited about being in the ACC. It's really fun to be a part of.
All three schools started in the Atlantic Coast Conference with wins, too. That certainly helps. Meanwhile, here, bench production has been a big part of Pitt's success. They're 14-1, 2-0 in the conference. And again, they've got 7 guys in the box score in the first half against Wake Forest.
Just a very balanced offensive attack. And for Wake Forest, they have done most of their damage at inside with Thomas and then at the free throw line. Only 3 field goals in this game for Wake Forest, not scored by Devin Thomas.
So early on, we'll see if Wake Forest can chip away at the 14-point lead.
See, Kavanaugh's got to make that pass inside to Devin Thomas. He's got to get himself in position to make the pass. He was in a bad spot, couldn't throw the long pass. Thomas was open inside, didn't get the ball.
Several times in that first half, Wake Forest got themselves into shot clock problems. They had to take desperation shots at the end, and here they are again with 5 on the shot clock and still not even close to looking at a shot.
I don't believe that Devin Thomas has to shoot the ball every time, but I do believe that Wake Forest has to try to run their offense through him. And that was a perfect example. He was open and he didn't get the ball.
3 on the shot clock. They still don't recognize it. Now they do. Air ball shot clock violation.
See, you come out to start the second half. I just don't think you can get a shot clock violation without Devin Thomas ever touching the ball.
So point well taken. Now Pitt with his first possession of the second half. This is James Robinson.
Wake starts in the man-to-man.
Patterson had 13 in the first half. He goes back inside the right.
And one of the things we haven't seen very often is Pitt take bad shots. Wright had a chance to take a bad shot and he passed it up.
Nice pass by Patterson. How about that?
That's Patterson's 3rd assist in the game.
And a good putback by Thomas.
Now, again, if they're not going to pass him the ball, he may as well go get it himself.
Wright banks it in. Cameron Wright off to a good start in the second half. So Thomas has the ball. They're going to double him every time. Here he goes up, no bucket, but he is fouled out front.
Part of the problem that time was Travis Mackay allowed Thomas to be double teamed. Lamar Patterson is guarding Travis Mackay. Patterson went down to double team, and Mackay went over in front of the Wake Forest bench where Thomas couldn't see him.
That was the first personal on Zana, and Williams with the running one-hander.
Wake Forest, you got to dig in on defense as well. You can't, there's a traveling violation.
A little stutter step by Young before he got rid of the ball.
Yeah, that'll help the cause. Jamie Dixon not very happy about that.
His team normally very fundamentally sound, as you mentioned. They don't make a whole lot of mistakes, don't take bad shots, and don't turn it over very often.
And play very effectively on the defensive end.
With physicality.
Yes,
besides that, not a bad ball club. Thomas has it blocked down.
Very good team defense.
That's 4 blocks by the Panthers. Tough shot gets the roll. Zana with the bucket.
He can be really effective down in there. He's already got 10 rebounds, had 10 rebounds in the first half. Now he's closing in on that double-double.
Thomas pops out for it, looks inside to Kavanaugh, and Kavanaugh is fouled.
We've been talking about Devin Thomas, and of course it's not a surprise to Pitt that they're trying to get the ball to Thomas. So here he does catch the ball on the inside, and this time he just doesn't recognize Robinson being present right there. Down on the other end, nobody comes to help Thomas against Zana, and Zana is one of those guys. You let him that close to the basket, he's got a nice array of moves.
Kavanaugh makes the first. Michael Young picked up his third personal foul, and so they'll exchange, get him out.
Jamel Artis comes in, and so far this year for Jamie Dixon, that has been a nice rotation there at that power forward spot with Michael Young and Jamel Artis, both of whom very skilled players, both freshmen.
Kavanaugh makes the second. Artis has been averaging 15 points or 15 minutes a game, and they get a lot out of him.
Well, he's a big, strong guy. He can run. He can score inside. He can drive the ball to the basket, shoot a little bit from the perimeter. He can make himself a very tough matchup.
He was a terrific player in Baltimore at Notre Dame prep. And there's a whistle on a foul.
The Panthers just do a great job finding open guys. Their inside players are always ready because they have to be. And when they're open, the ball seems to just come whistling into their hands. Zana catches it very well in there.
Makes the first. The foul was on Karan Williams, and that is now his third. Jamie Dixon's going to leave him in the ball game. Zana makes them both. Zana double-double, 10 points, 10 rebounds, and that is his fifth double-double of the year. Shot clock at 15. Wake Forest continues to work the perimeter. Bam for the three. Karan Williams.
That's really a tough shot.
He said he's always been comfortable in this building. When he was playing for Robert Morris, felt good here. Had 19 against the Panthers. Dan Bonner catches the pass. Meanwhile, Travis Mackay goes into the zoo.
And the zoo did a really nice job catching Travis Mackay.
Yeah, they did, and helped him out. He went right against his stanchion.
Patterson trying to make a tough pass, and he comes down. Watch as he falls in here. Young lady in there grabbed him by the shirt and pulled him up. Nice job to not flinch, partner.
You see the two of us not trying to help Travis, but instead going for the ball.
I don't think we were going for the ball. I wasn't going for the ball. I was trying to put my hands up in case they came at us.
Approaching the 16-minute mark in this ball game. It's great to be in this building. Great to have Pitt in the ACC. This is Patterson, and he can flat out hit the three ball.
That's just an example of the Wake Forest defense not working hard enough to get out there on Lamar Patterson. You cannot give him that much space and time.
His last two shots have been threes, and he's buried them. Thomas with a tough shot and gets it to go.
That really was a tough shot. Normally you'd like him to pass it out of there, but his teammates really didn't give any options.
This game's getting physical now, and Thomas goes down, but he'll be called for the foul. We talked about physicality. Things are heating up. Patterson from long range. Splash. At the other end, Thomas with a foul, and he now has two. defensive shield.
And of course, talking about defense, the Pitt Panthers among the best. You can see they're holding their opponents to 58.9 points a game. In the first half, they held the Deacons of Wake Forest to 25.9% shooting. So you can play defense like that and you stay in a lot of games. Now, we talked about Travis McKay going into the seats, so they had to get a new stat computer. That's what happened to the old one.
That's our computer right here at the table. Oh, my.
Well, that's what happens when a 6'7", 220-pound guy sits down on it while he's flying into the stands.
Big fella not hurt. That's the most important thing, rather the computer. Zana makes the first one.
Tim, but while we're talking about Travis McKay, remember what we said before the game, that McKay really needed to have a good game, and so far in this game, he's only got one field goal. That three-point basket he made in the first half. Only has 4 field goal attempts.
Zana knocks them both down and extends the lead to 53-37.
It's going to be hard for Wake Forest to win anywhere, particularly in a place like this when Travis McKay has 4 points, 1 rebound in 22 minutes.
So Wake Forest looked out of sync right from the get-go. They just didn't look comfortable. And Thomas has been taking it right at the basket. This time he's fouled out front. So the foul is on Derek Randall. That'll be his first personal.
You can just see Thomas. You noticed him one time yelling, "Give me the ball, throw me the ball," running down the court. When he gets it, he's going to try to score.
Nice drop step and banks it in.
Does not seem to be a bad strategy.
Devin Thomas responding on cue to Dan Bonner.
Now Wake dropped back into the zone to try to protect Thomas a little bit. He picked up his second foul earlier, and he's going to get his third one right there. Thomas just picked up his third foul, but this is the inbounds play, and he does a nice job spinning to the basket. Another look at it. Robinson not able to get over in time to help out. If Thomas is going to dribble the ball, you've got to close on him, knock it away from him while he's driving to the goal.
Randall knocks down the first and misses the second, and Thomas comes away with a rebound. I'm hesitant to tell you that Wake is 9-0 when Thomas leads Wake in rebounding, because really they have been out of this ball game, it seems, since the very beginning. Here's McKay, takes it to the basket strong. He's fouled. He'll go to the line and shoot 2. Foul is on Derek Randall. That's his second personal.
You're talking about the McKay makes that first shot. The Oakland Zoo here, the kids in the zoo are yelling at McKay that was a nice laptop he broke, and he owes Pitt for the laptop.
Travis McKay, as you mentioned, is a big fella, 6'7", 220 pounds, out of Richmond, Virginia. Leading active scorer in the ACC.
Now he's got 6 points, Tim, but still only has that 1 field goal.
He needs 7 points to join the 1,500 club for his career. 1,500 points. But he's been fairly quiet tonight, and he was quiet in Charlottesville.
Wake drops back into that zone.
Good look done outside, kick it. This is Patterson looking at a 3. Bottoms!
That was the situation where Zana dropped the ball. And instead of panicking, he just picked it up, didn't force anything, threw it back outside. And the result was they got a wide open look at a 3.
McKay air ball. They missed Patterson wide open on the transition, so he popped back out, throws it to the other side. Johnson is short. Oh, Patterson again.
What a pass by Artis. He just tracked the ball down, drove to the baseline, through the defense, found the open man. Here comes Artis, and Patterson just has himself in great position, and nice job by Artis to find him.
Mr. Inside, Mr. Outside, Lamar Patterson averages 17 points, 5 rebounds a game. It's over his average here today.
And it's been a struggle most of the afternoon for Wake Forest, but it's beginning to look like the wheels have come off now.
I will say this, we got to the arena very early today, and Patterson was already here taking jumpers. Just had one of the managers feeding him, shot after shot. Pass to Kavanaugh, and he's fouled. So the foul is on James Robinson. And Kavanaugh will go to the line.
And Patterson is going to take a seat on the bench. He's been doing a lot of heavy lifting today. You can understand why he would need a breather.
Tyler Kavanaugh misses the first. He's a 6'9" sophomore from DeWitt, New York.
Wake Forest has actually done a nice job getting to the free throw line today.
Kavanaugh was a part-time starter last year. He's getting more comfortable and confident as a starter. Knocks down the second. So it's an 18-point Pitt lead. It's a nice-looking ball club, Pitt.
Yeah, you can see they've got a lot of versatility. You know, Wright can handle the ball in the backcourt. Newkirk gives him nice minutes as the backup point guard. Robinson, we mentioned, really solid. That time the ball slipped away from Cameron. Most of the time they catch it really well. They can play a big lineup. They can play a small lineup.
You can watch them on tape, as I had, preparing for the ball game, but until you see them in person, I mean, you know it's a fundamentally sound, talented ball club on tape. You see them in person, and I mean, they just take over a ball game. They are really physical, active, and smart. High basketball IQ. Battle inside gets Wake Forest 2 more points. Dalamoto with the bucket. Williams, Adalamato, and Thomas all with 3 personal fouls. Ron Johnson down into the corner. And he touched the sideline, I believe. Today's coverage of ACC basketball being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network. We welcome the nearly 1 million men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces stationed around the globe and on the high seas. We're so proud to have you with us and hope you're enjoying this broadcast. Dalamoto banks it in.
Dalamoto, we've said it in the first half, he does a nice job when he can catch the ball on the inside. About 6'6", 230 or so pounds. He'd be a very physical player in there.
Pitt not only wins, they win big. 14 games by an average of 18 points a game. So they're winning going away. Trying to set their record to 3-0 in the ACC, 15-1 overall. Foul is on Karan Williams, and that's 4 on him.
Williams, of course, started the game. I think Wake Forest was looking for a little more offense, and he got 2 fouls very early, so he's been struggling with foul trouble throughout this one.
So Newkirk now will run the point. Newkirk gives it back, has it blocked. Miller McIntyre loses it. That'll start a transition.
Shot clock did not reset.
Nice pass by Wright. Zana with the bucket and the foul. They'll go to the line for one more.
That was some catch in traffic, wasn't it?
Oh my. How about the look? Little deke, little pass, Zana with a finish.
fast analysis, and you don't have to analyze the Pitt basketball team very much to understand that Lamar Patterson is the guy who really makes them go. Not only those 22 points, but he's done that in 12 field goal attempts, making 8 of them. He's got 4 assists to go along with those 5 rebounds. He's made all 3 of his free throw attempts, and he's made 3 threes. That's our AT&T fast analysis, and Lamar Patterson is fast moving up the ranks of guys who might make the postseason All-ACC team as we take a look at the preseason All-ACC team.
Yeah, I think he puts himself in the Player of the Year category, and as you mentioned, those 3 threes and only 5 shots from the bonus sphere. He is extremely efficient.
Very efficient, very aggressive. He is a guy who just knows how to play. He may not be the quickest guy out there. He may not be the strongest guy out there. He may not be the fastest guy out there, but he, I think, is a guy who understands how this game is played, how to get open, how to make shots.
Always makes himself available. Thomas takes it down the lane. Boy, is he playing well today. Say what you will about Wake Forest not bringing their A game today, but Thomas did.
And you remember we showed you before the game that hit he took, actually that he delivered in Charlottesville. Ran his jaw into the shoulder of a Virginia player, but no ill effects, obviously.
Newkirk, little stutter step, almost threw it away.
Newkirk is a guy, you've got to make him a jump shooter.
And this is going to be a timeout Pitt. I think Jamie Dixon liked the way that possession was going. Guys are getting a little fancy with the ball, getting away from the fundamentals. We'll be right back. Mobile app features live games, videos, scores, stats, and a whole lot more for you. All the news in the ACC. Just download it on your iPhone, your iPad, your Android. Your team's your app. The ACC mobile app presented by Outback Steakhouse. Don't download it today. Dan, how about Pittsburgh and Syracuse coming in and just running the ACC? Have yet to lose.
Of course, it's still early in the season, but this is a very impressive-looking Pitt team, shooting well over 70% from the field in the second half.
Shot clock down to 2. And how about that? Patterson with the bucket as the shot clock was about to expire.
Isn't it amazing how he's always around the ball?
Well, you talked about his basketball IQ. Here's another turnover. Pitt gets it. They just don't make bad passes. They look down for the transition, make sure he's open. And as I say that, they turn it over.
They make a bad pass. Well, that's okay.
Miller McIntyre at the other end scores.
And obviously, that is a big help to any team if you can use your defense to create easy offensive opportunities for you. One thing that Wake Forest has not had many of today is easy offensive opportunities.
For Jeff Gazdelek, how does he turn this thing around now? This will be 2 performances in a row where his guys are on the short end.
I think it'll help them going home. The Deacons have played much better at home. They have a 12-game winning streak at home, I think. And that's odd how that happens sometimes, but the Deacons play much better at home, and when they face North Carolina State on Wednesday, they'll be in Winston-Salem. So that alone will help them out.
This is a Wake Forest team that started very strongly, and they're still 11-4. Jeff likes his ball club. This ball is just taken away, and a whistle. Well, take a look at the nation's top 25. It's brought to you by Honda dealers of the Carolinas. There's Syracuse. We were just talking about them. Ironic, and I think a little bit crazy that Pitt's not in there. Duke's 16th. I know you weren't happy with the way they fell, or didn't think that that was normal the way they fell.
Well, I mean, there's not happy or unhappy about it, but you know, if they did, it's a little bit weird. They dropped 10 spots, losing a conference game on the road in a very tough environment. Now they did lose it to an unranked Notre Dame team, but still, that seems to be a rather precipitous fall.
Dalamoto picks up his 4th personal. And Robinson gets the free throw.
And as you look at your undefeated teams, you know, that Arizona team is another team that is a complete team. And what a great year Wisconsin is having. Wichita State showing you that Final Four was not a fluke last year. And Iowa State, my heavens.
Yeah, you know, and I wasn't sure about what Sean really had. I know what everybody had said till I saw Arizona play UCLA. And I mean, that was a strong performance. UCLA made a heck of a run at them, and they stayed fast and won that ball game.
Well, they have very good balance. They can score inside, they can score outside.
And lost it out of bounds. Foul trouble now. Thomas has 3. Williams has 4. Dalamoto has 4.
Remember we said earlier in the game that this Pitt team is an attacking team, and that's how you get into foul trouble. And people just are coming right at you.
.8:44 to play in the ball game. Wake has turned it over 4 of its last 5 possessions. Shot clock again runs down, and Pitt gets it back with a new 35.
The key there is that Patterson dribbled into the lane, drew the defense, got the shot clock reset, but everybody went to Patterson, and Deron Johnson was able to go in and get the offensive rebound. Got it off the ground.
Patterson brings it back out. His career high is 30. Right now he's got 24. Shot clock at 8. Nice pass. Just a little drive, draw, and dish. Get it out.
The great thing about that, as Patterson started into the lane, he glanced up at the shot clock, knew he had plenty of time to make the pass, and he didn't have to rush the shot.
Another turnover. Patterson in the middle, nice pass again, but a little bit too hard. Young coming down that left side, couldn't handle it. So great idea, poor execution. We'll return after these messages from your local ACC station.
Deacons, we have a couple of stellar guards who played for the teams for which they are now assistant coaches. Brandon Knight from the University of Pittsburgh, two-time All-American, Big East Player of the Year. Was able to talk to him a little bit earlier in the season. He really enjoys coaching. Obviously said he wants to make this a career. And on the other side, Randolph Childress, one of the great players in the history of Wake Forest. Probably had the best ACC tournament I've ever seen an individual player have.
You and I were courtside for that, and that was spectacular. He too wants to make it a career.
Absolutely, and he's done a nice job working with the guards on this team.
And this foul will be called against Michael Young, and that'll be his fourth personal.
And Devin Thomas caught it inside and just didn't recognize that he was surrounded. You know, tried to put it on the deck in a crowd, and that's usually not a good idea.
You know what I remember most about Randolph Childress in that tournament you're talking about is the final 10 seconds against North Carolina coming out of the timeout. Everybody in the building and across the nation knew the ball was going to Childress. He got it and still scored easily and won the ball game.
And that's been one of the few easy baskets right there for Wake Forest today. Cody Miller-McIntyre getting the easy dunk.
17-point lead for the Pitt Panthers.
Wake has actually picked it up shooting the ball here in the second half, shooting over 60%. They just simply have not been able to stop Pitt.
Down to the final 10 seconds of the shot clock. Wright looks for a shot. This is a 2-ball. And last touch by Pitt.
But so it was last touched by Artis, and there's Pitt again. They just track every rebound. They never give up on a ball. You know, earlier we described them as relentless, and I think that's the term that applies to these guys.
Jeff Bzdelik still out there coaching, still working his guys hard, still instructing and teaching. Get the ball up to Thomas. Miller-McIntyre is fouled. Fouled before the shot. So the foul is on Derek Randall. That'll be his third personal. See coming up Wednesday night, either or. Florida State at Miami or NC State at Wake Forest.
Now it's very interesting. Miami lost just about everybody from that ACC championship team last year, and they started slowly, but they are another team that defeated North Carolina. Florida State, they're a funny team. If they can score, they're really good because they can guard you. And then NC State, I think NC State is a developing team. Be interesting to see them play in Winston-Salem. Wake Forest, you know, they have some big wins in Winston-Salem over the last couple of years, and that'll be a big game for the Deacons going back home. Yeah, no, I think that's a great analysis. Matter of fact, you're talking about the rebuilding going on at Miami. Jim Larinaga can flat out coach and had Syracuse on the ropes. Nice pass to right inside. Patterson doing a little bit of everything in here. That was a terrific pass, and Wright finished. Under 6 minutes to play in the ball game. That's pretty good defense by Zana, keeping Thomas from getting close to the basket.
Yeah, I think Thomas and Zana got into it a little bit right there. Thomas wanted to challenge it. He's going to take that shot regardless. Johnson goes down hard. Boy, it looked like his feet just slipped out from under him.
And here's Thomas, just what you were talking about. Here's Thomas and Zana going at one another.
Teron Johnson's hurt.
Again, he drives into the lane here, and as he comes down, you know, his feet slide, and that's going to hurt your knee, pull a groin muscle that way.
Yeah, without a doubt. Thomas picks up his fourth personal, and Johnson looked over the bench and says, hey, fellas, come out here. Jamie was yelling, get up, you're all right. Oh. So Johnson goes to the line.
Yeah, but no matter how hurt you are, you never come out of the game when you're shooting free throws.
Isn't that the truth?
Now the pain may really get too great if he makes these 2 free throws, but when he's got a chance to score, he's staying in there. And that's just not Johnson, that's everybody.
Yeah.
Boy, Lamar Patterson, we've talked about him, but in a very tough environment, there's Devin Thomas. 8 out of 10 field goal shooting, 9 rebounds to go along with his 17 points.
Johnson free throws, and he says so long. He goes out,
sort of skips out of the game.
Chris Jones comes back in, and now the trainers will take a look at his leg.
Yeah, injuries are always worse when you're on the defensive end.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was a very funny looking fall that he took, and we're joking about it, but he's leaving the court actually. I just hope he's not hurt.
This foul's underneath. I think it's on Thomas. They were still battling down there, and for Thomas, that's his 5th, and he'll be disqualified.
Oh, it's his 5th. Wow. Now, Thomas is an extremely intense competitive basketball player.
How about that look on his face? He is intense, and he has certainly competed today. Devin Thomas played a sensational ball game for Wake Forest. He was battling right from the beginning. You noticed right away he was calling for the ball, and you said they got to go into him. And once they got it into him, he was productive. 17 points, 9 rebounds.
And what you would like to see if you're the Wake Forest coaching staff is all your guys approach the game with that sort of competitive fire.
That was impressive. You love to see a guy get challenged, rise to the challenge. So his 17 points and 9 rebounds now go to the bench with 5:13 to play.
You know, that's just the personality of some guys, but you really like that as a coach, for that to be the personality of your team.
Biggest lead of the game for the Panthers. Inside, Kavanaugh with the turnaround, has it partially blocked, and the foul underneath. I believe that foul is on Chris Jones. It is. That's his first. So Aaron Roundtree the third at the line. Take a look at what's coming up for Pitt. This is their schedule: at Georgia Tech, at Syracuse, and they come home against the Tigers of Clemson.
That game at Syracuse, that has the potential, you know, to be one of the big games in this season's ACC schedule.
Or perhaps national. Syracuse still ranked number 2. Patterson will go to the line to shoot 2. Patterson's career high is 30. He's got 24. Correction, Jones. Look, sometimes look the same. Depends what angle from which you're looking. Syracuse gets the win. You see Boston College gets his first win. Georgia Tech wins 70-68.
Actually, Tim, there's 23 seconds left in that Georgia Tech Notre Dame game. So the Yellow Jackets would really like to get that one at home.
4:35 remaining in this ball game here. Miller McIntyre runs into some problems, and then the whistle and the foul. And I think that one's on Robinson. And that'll be his 3rd personal.
That's a problem. Now, Wake Forest, they're getting to the free throw line there, but that's been one of the problems that we've seen all day today. Somebody takes the ball, gets double teamed, and his teammates don't give him an outlet pass. They just sort of stand around.
Kick it back out to the corner. They do that well. Patterson draws iron. Roundtree with the foul. Correction, Andre Washington with the foul. And so Zana goes back to the line. Zana with 15 points.
Well, Washington's a big kid, 7 feet tall, 240 pounds. His best skill is as a shot blocker. But Talib Zana, I mean, he is a tough matchup.
Overton comes into the ball game for Wake Forest. Zana has another one coming. Jamie Dixon now going down the bench. Pitt got out of the blocks quickly, put Wake Forest in a hole. Wake kept it in single digits most of the first half.
Yeah, but then Pitt went on that spurt at the end of the half, stretched it out to a 14-point lead.
Patterson hit 2 threes in a row before intermission. This will start to transition. The pass to Patterson, and very wisely gives it back to Wright, who takes it right in and can't finish. I think Wright was surprised how open he was when he got down there. 3:37 left to play in this ball game. It's all Pitt. The Zoo loving it, and the band plays on. Back inside the Zoo, they love it here. We've seen Bears, we've seen all kinds of folks. Down in Atlanta, tight game, final seconds. Down under a minute. Trey Golden, bang!
You know, Golden hit a big 3 earlier in the year and provided the margin of victory against Charlotte. Notre Dame trying to get the last shot.
And that'll do it. 3.5 left. Georgia Tech picks up a big win, and Mike Bray, an ACC rude loss on the road. Meanwhile, Jamie Dixon still undefeated in the Atlantic Coast Conference, but Jamie's always played well against ACC teams. He's coached very, very well, and his record is very successful.
Pitt shooting the ball very well with the advantage on the boards. All the stats favoring the Pitt Panthers, and that's what you would expect.
And a whistle and a foul.
There's Overton in the game, taking the ball to the basket. And Joseph Ochibo appearing in the game for the Pitt Panthers. He picks up the foul.
Ochibo's a big body, 6'10", 260.
Georgia Tech obviously hit those 2 free throws to win that game.
So Syracuse, Boston College, and Georgia Tech all win.
And then Oklahoma beating Iowa State. So I take Iowa State off the board as one of the unbeaten teams.
Partner, this is the 60th free throw of the day. Wow. So everybody getting some minutes now. James Robinson, who started the ball game, still the point guard. This is Newkirk. Patterson still in the ball game, looks at his shot clock at 13. Now the shot clock dwindles down. Patterson fires from long range. That's a 3-ball. Now 3 points to his career high. Kavanaugh with a nice soft touch.
Now just trading baskets now. I think the game is clearly decided, and these guys are just, I think, just trying to get through these last couple of minutes here.
Patterson got a really nice look, went halfway down and came out. This is knocked out of bounds by Washington. And Patterson goes out of the ball game. Tried to get those knocked down a 3. He knew he was coming out. But what a terrific performance by Lamar Patterson today. 27 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists. And that's for 3. So Overton comes into the ball game and hits a tray. 78-61.
Very impressive performance by Pitt. Patterson finishes with 27 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. And the Deacons, they're going to get things figured out a little bit. And I think the key to getting things figured out a little bit is what we talked about earlier, that competitive fire that Devin Thomas showed that they've got to get a little bit more of across the board.
Pitt using a lot of the shot clock there, so they are just now melting the clock, shortening the game. Here's another 3. Washington with a rebound, and he's fouled. Andre Washington is 7 feet, as you said, 240-pound sophomore. They just yelled at him. Looks like he's 12. Here are your news and notes.
Again, we mentioned Iowa State lost, so we showed you earlier there were 5 undefeated teams. Now there are only 4. Wake Forest, we mentioned their game is coming up on Wednesday against North Carolina State. That's a home game, and they're on an 11-game home winning streak, so the Deacons will try to extend that. Mike Lisak comes into the game for the Panthers.
Robinson goes out. Robinson with a nice job today. He had 8 points. Had 4 assists.
You know, the only matter of concern really for the Panthers here as this game winds down is whether or not Deron Johnson is seriously injured. Remember, Johnson, he has been such a big spark for the Panthers coming off the bench. Really helps extend that bench for Pitt. And he left the game, went to the locker room. We haven't seen him come back.
Mike Lisak was called for that personal foul on the block out there of Washington. So he got another free throw. 78-62. With 65 seconds left in the ball game. What a great place this is, Petersen Events Center. Packed to the brim when this game started with 12,508 folks here to watch the Panthers and watch the Demon Deacons of Wake Forest. Another 3-ball from way outside. And Wake Forest gets it right back.
Well, it's a violation. Lisak and Jones got a little bit confused about who was taking the ball out of bounds, and Jones walked inbounds with it and then walked back out of bounds, and so that's a violation.
Pitt will go to 15-1, 3-0 in the Atlantic Coast Conference. Wake Forest will fall to 11-5, 1-2 in the ACC.
And Wake Forest now will, during the Jeff Bzdelik era, will drop to 1-27 in ACC road games. Their only win was in January of 2012, interestingly, up at Boston College.
Lisak with a shot. Big rebound inside the big fella. Chibo gets the bucket.
Ochibo gets the basket and his shorts are falling down.
Ochibo is 260 pounds.
But he needs shorts with a shorter waistband.
And that'll do it. The final seconds tick away. And Pitt with an outstanding performance, winning 80-65, and the Panthers are rolling. We'll be back for the final word right after this.
Basketball is being brought to you by Food Lion, official supermarket of the ACC. By your Carolina Ford dealers. By AT&T, exclusive wireless provider of the ACC. And by Ruby Tuesday, official corporate champion of the ACC.
First ever meeting between Wake Forest and Pitt. Pitt builds a 19-point lead. They led 40-26 at the half. They win it 80-65. Lamar Patterson, 27 points. You've been watching exclusive coverage of ACC basketball on the ACC Network and exclusive production of Raycom Sports. For Dan Bonner, I'm Tim Brand saying so long from Pittsburgh.